This is RF from Country Lunch on WOOL 91.5 FM from Bellows Falls, Vermont.
Let's see. I am talking with, I'm here with Jim. That's Paleo Mountain Man from Springfield, Vermont. Say hi, Jim.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, well, let me turn on your mic. Say hi there. Go ahead.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, I got that. I missed that the first time.
Yeah, the arm's good.
And on the other side, we have Budcat7 in New York, who's also an expert on walls. I'm learning a lot sitting here listening to you. It's about walls. I never would think that about a wall. And the one thing I said when I left here is you have to have a key to understanding walls, like it's encoding and today you have to have a key to encode things. It's probably the same thing you need to read a wall. It goes step by step. Wouldn't you say that?
I would say that.
I would say a lot of it's intuition. There's a different type of thing going on here. Images. It's a language of intuition. It means different things to different people, but it tells you basically the same thing. You don't have to say 1, 2, 3, 4. You can say 4, 3, 2, 1 and get the same answer. When you look at an image, it's how it makes you feel, where it makes you go in your mind. They're really powerful, and the walls hold those images. Like Dave was saying, if you look at one part of the wall, it might take a while for you to understand what you're looking at, but then all of a sudden, once you see it, you'll never see it another way. You'll see the image that's in there, and it speaks to you. And what it did for me was change my perspective on everything I thought about. It was so powerful that one stone in the wall. It's actually the stone Dave was talking about, the triangle stone with the guy walking over the wall. That's the stone that I looked at when I saw the wall, and everything changed for me. My perspective changed, and that's how powerful that image was in the wall. It changed my perspective, which made me think in a different way, which made me follow this line of thought, which led me to Dave and his research. And I don't know how Dave stumbled upon New England stone walls as being anything other than what everyone else said. Like you said, Al, I just thought they were walls.
Right.
It's astounding when you actually look at them, and your perception will change because there's images in the walls that were put there by a mind of a people that we don't know who they are, where they came from, or where they went. But we have a lot of information on them because they carved a lot of stones, built a lot of walls, and left a lot of their stuff behind. Even their images they left behind, and the things that were important to them, they left behind in cut stone images. Everything from the animals they were interested in and the things they wore on their heads. They wore headdresses almost like the ancient Inca and the Aztec people did. Those giant headdresses with the feathers and the effigies in them. They had those. There were other people here too. The large hominids, the giants. There were many skeletons found, and Bellows Falls is famous for it. There was a famous skeleton found in Bellows Falls, 8.5 feet tall with double rows of teeth, and it was on display somewhere between here and Rockingham for many years. This is over 100 years ago. And this is just a story that's so similar throughout the country of skeletons that were found and then disappeared. On and on and on. You'll see the old articles about them. And a lot of the people that found them were doctors that described them. You could fit the jaw of the skeleton over a grown man's head. Some of them were over 30 inches in circumference, the skulls. Some of them were over 8 feet tall. Some of them were 12 and 13 feet tall, and even more. Right, Dave? I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
I mean, think about it.
They vary in size. I think it shows evolution from the larger skeletons down to, the 6-footers, shows how they just evolved. And I think they integrated into the American Indian tribes here eventually. But, at one time they were a whole civilization. The Native American Indians of the Northeast never claimed to have built any stone anything. So no stone walls, no cans, no effigies. They did not claim to build any of those things. So it seems to me that the time periods that they dig these large skeletons up would be the time periods in which the walls were built. So it's highly likely that the walls were built by these rather large people, and that would make a lot of sense in hauling these stones around. And to get back to what Jimmy was saying about how the art in the wall is subtle, and you really have to look at it for a long time. Well, I hope I was an inspiration to Jimmy. I think in doing that, but other people from around the New England area have been emailing me pictures that they've gone out into their yards on their property and looked at walls, and they're now discovering things in these walls and emailing me the pictures. And it's just amazing that other people now, because of my videos, because of Jim's research, are looking at these walls now and seeing things in them. And it's just amazing that some people can get it and some people can't. But it's amazing to me that people from around the country are actually starting to look at these things a little bit differently. And I hope I'm partly responsible for that. And we're going to get back a lot of information from people, because now I have people actively out there looking.
I think too.
Like Jimmy.
I think if you go out there and you do look, you'll learn so much more than if you opened up a book, because books only go so far, and then they stop. And what you do when you walk around with an open mind is you learn things. And if you look at the walls and you find the walls that we're talking about, the ones that were built by the megalithic peoples, the cultures of pre-10,000 years ago, and probably a lot longer than that. I can't put a timeline on it. All I know is a lot of the images I have are of Pleistocene animals, of mammoth and mastodon, things like that. Why would people put those kind of images on their stones if they lived a couple thousand years ago? These people lived a long time ago that I'm talking about, that Dave's talking about, even longer than the prescribed history of the local natives in the area, which go back 10,000 years. We're pushing it 5,000 years before that. They didn't even know who these people were. They don't know who these people are. I've inquired, and no one does. It's a complete mystery to everyone in the area. And when you have the evidence in stone, like I have, not just the stone walls, but the artifacts with the images on them, someone carved them, someone left them there. You can't find in any book who did. The local archaeologists say glaciers did it all. Glaciers carved all those sharp edges and stone tools and hammers and all that, because they have no answers. They have no answers, so they say glaciers did it, and that's ridiculous. I mean, just go there and look. And as much research as I've done on my own 2 feet, I've never, ever seen an archaeologist walking around looking at anything. They're not out there looking. I mean, it's the people that are out there sending pictures, looking on their own property or walking through the woods and looking with an open mind, and let the stones speak to you. They will tell you what they're trying to say. They will. If you open yourself up, they'll speak to you. And it may sound New Age-like, but there's a whole spectrum of things surrounding this that you can't even see. I mean, why did they do what they did? What were they doing these things for? Why were they carving stones that fit in your hand that were all quartz crystal and had no other reason but to fit in your hand and have images on them? And why did they do these things? A lot of what they did were to prepare food and to make weapons and things like that, but a lot of the stones they carved seemed to be ritual-like, and that's the only word I can put on it, because they weren't used as tools. They were used to put in the hand and to hold and to walk around with and to use in some other way. And a lot of the stones I found stashed in the wall were had images on them that seemed like very lifelike, not just stylized images, but it looked like you were looking at the animal you're looking at, including elephants, I mean, mammoth, things like that. I've even found ape-like looking creatures, images. Cro-Magnon maybe, I don't know, but there were things going on here. And giants. Skeletons were found in this town that I'm sitting in right now 100 years ago. And no one knows it. No one knows about it. It's all gone. The whole history is gone. And they found the skeletons. They were here. You know, an 8.5-foot skeleton with double rows of teeth. Think about that. 8.5 feet. And it's something no one has an answer to, so they just put them away and not talked about them. Now no one knows about it. You won't find it in history books. Teachers won't talk about it. But if you start opening up your mind and thinking about the past, and all these things were real, maybe there were other things we don't know about, other types of hominids that we don't know about. I have no proof of that, but I do have images that are very real looking, put on stone a long time ago. And why did these people do it? And all their other images were very lifelike. All the animals they carved were very lifelike. Why not the strange looking people they carved? They look lifelike, but they don't look like human beings. And these are images that are real. They're in rock. They were cut in stone. There's mysteries going on here that are beyond understanding, at least the way we think. And people like, I think it was Graham Hancock said that this area of the country is going to open up and answer many of the questions that everyone's asking. And I think you know that, Dave, that he said that. He thinks this area is going to do that.